In 3, 2, 1, hi. It's Chastia, and it is December 29th. And in these, it's Toltec Matrix timelines. What the Ascended, which is Eurofusions, realize that I'm going to be on here right now and talking about what, as a leader of a grounding crew, bringing in cosmic energy to a simulation with full oversight of the black magic that was being done the entire time to all of us in this laboratory simulation that we are basically at this very point in time half in, half out of. Not even half. What I'm seeing is about 20, well, actually no, I'm seeing exactly 33% of what you'd call your current map that we believe it to be, because it's what was printed for us. That was what it was, but then it changed. All right, because of the times and the physics that we're in. Only 33% of the land is currently in a true set. The rest of it is and was bound to grids, G grids. This is all about that Mason G and how all of this got out of control. And we've had and so I'm calling everybody over to listen to what it is that I know to be true by the moves that I've been a part of physically, the states I've been in physically, the cosmic physics that I've been charting and living and walking, because it is how it works. It is what every single one of you will learn to do over the next 5 to 10 years, hopefully quicker. It is a natural state of pure creation, and it's what you've been praying for. You've been praying for your gifts. You've been praying for your manifestation to appear. You've been calling it in. You've been claiming. You've been fixing your bloodlines. You didn't know why. First, I want to say to everybody that's been a part of this, and every soul down here, whether you know it or not, even the ones that are working for these so-called factions, if you're human, you've been helping us, number one. What you really need to realize, and please understand, I need everyone to understand that the information that I'm telling you here knocked us off of our seats every single time that we were shown what we were changing and how actually it was being done. We couldn't believe it. I'll take us back to the beginning. I want to take us back to the beginning, because this is the part where you can do something to assist. Way back in the beginning, because I activated in 2017 in May, a group of us did. We were your doomsday seeds in a simulation. So realize that what I'm saying to you is that your doomsday seeds were made by the government with a mixture of all types of beings and all types of races in order to ground these additional sets into a simulation, all the while knowing that it was a 1,000,000-year reset. Now, this ain't just no 24,000-year reset. This ain't no 26,000. I mean, it's a 26,000-year cycle that was always supposed to lead to an Ophiuchian override. It's in the Accords for the human race. What we learned is that all in the ethers and in the hires, everything is very, very organized and documented. I'll keep saying this forever. Gypsy Rose was a part of this. I haven't quite figured out how exactly, but the night before is when there's a lot to tell y'all here. So I'm remind me of that. I'll come back to it. Your seeds, all of us and most of us, were in your Epstein program as well. Now, if one of your lead seeds and doomsday seed was attached to all the DNA races that were the Puritan races, were in a simulation, and that simulation was being powered by those seeds in the core, then you too were part of what the whole Israel Epstein thing was all about. If you notice, whenever we talk about Epstein, when you get to the truth, it's less what they were doing to the girls in the physical. Let's just put it that way. What they were doing to the girls in the physical was only a binding power source to what the true intention was. When you get deep into it, it's all about science, cloning, and physics. We were in a 1,000,000-year reset. That's what we're in now. Ophiuchus always would, and that's what the 24,000-year counts, the 26,000-year counts. And Ophiuchus always came back in and took predominant energy over what you'd consider the cosmos and Earth and humanity in order for it to evolve. And then there's 1,000 years peace that comes from an Ophiuchus. Well, it's Orion basically was supposed to hand off in the cosmos. If everything would have naturally reset over 900 years ago. That part. Over 900 years ago. And then again, I know that this lined up in order to take place in 1919. So there's been several cycles. In fact, there was 4 cycles that, and I'm talking long periods of time, we're talking 10,000, 20,000 years, that then to a human would be a 10-year program that you cleared, a 13-year program, a 20-year program. Well, those 10 years are linked to 1,000. Those 20 years are linked to the 2,000. 13 years linked to 1,300, because especially because of the simulation and how time travel was made down here. my team, because of me being the hidden astronomist and because of my Ophiuchian connections and the DNA that I had, and the reason that the forefathers even hid me, the reason that the Air Force put me in the chamber, because my physical body was even used to make the simulation. This is why those of us who were actually physically used to make the simulation, or if your DNA was used in the spellbinding, or if they always did the spell on your family line, which, remember, your family lines all connect back into one family line, especially in a simulation. Especially in a simulation. I'm going to say it again. Especially in a written simulation. What had been happening each time that this higher physics that pulls the human up, and the Ophiuchian energy out there is dark. What we've had to deal with and witness and see, and then some of my crew members even be taken over by, in front of my face, these low frequency Ophiuchian entities that had been basically thrown away and locked into space. And so this is a part of your soul, no matter whether or not it's so distant out that you're just now remembering, or you might have it in your chart so you're very aware in Sagittarius, or you might have a crap ton of Gemini, which is the splitting and the splitting of the personality that happened to you in Gemini is all because of what I'm telling you right now. The entities from Ophiuchus I don't know how to say this without scaring people, because the Ophiuchian energy is not necessarily scary. It is if you're completely unconscious. I know that I scare people. I know that. I know I trigger people. I also know that it's kind of my job, because and this is what I'm talking about, a lot of it. Because when I trigger somebody, and when you trigger somebody with the truth, it's because, number one, you're mirroring back that information to them, because your field is so strong and you're telling them the truth about how things are being done, or something about themselves, and they don't want to hear it because they want to go back to their Saturday football and and bottom line is they don't want to change. They think that they can make that choice. They think, and it is free will down here, and you know, this is the catch. Because nobody, I don't care how ascended master you are, you know, goes back to Michael and having to pull him from the game. I don't care what you had mastered before in a timeline down here on Earth in your soul, which is all connected. It's all connected into your Pluto timelines. It's all connected into every single one of us that hold the same DNA strands. That's why one of us gets out and then the rest of us gets the goods from it. One of us gets healed, the rest of them heal. Well, that was the problem. And it's how the simulation was set up. The simulation was set up, and the cycles of time and the way that the constellations line up all has to be on a perfect, almost like jumping through rings. You have to have Saturn at the same point that it was before. Or, like, for instance, Saturn right now is on Fomalhaut. That's Gabriel. This game is over. This simulation is over. I have seen Mars. It's either Mars or Chiron blow up and fall from space. I have seen Mars, for sure, be stepped on by a cosmic galactic bird that's all part of your Cleopatra and the Ophiuchian stuff that I speak of, that was part of the mummification rituals that went down in Egypt. Ophiuchus is linked to death of your ancestors, the ones buried here, the ones that laid intention in order for those body templates that were buried on the temples on Giza. You know, this is why the Queen's Pyramid went to Sirius. Inside the Queen's Pyramid, they had an opening that went inside Giza. They had an opening that went to Sirius, and I haven't looked at it in a while, but and it went to another Alpha Draconic star, because the Alpha Draconic DNA and the Zeta Reticuli partnership that Alpha Draconic made with Zeta was the problem. And what they did at the Queen's Pyramid is they put in a ray to a Zeta Reticuli field. And the Queen's Pyramid is set up to affect up to the 13th dimension. So if you're seeing 13 and you're seeing the number 13, or even if you see 1313 a lot, then know that 1313 is a original, what you'd consider the original organic matrix numbers. The good ones. The ones that are connected into your body. The ones that make it work correctly. And the 13th dimension connects to your 4th dimension, which is your subconscious, which was ruled by Neptune. Which is why in the simulation you had characters named Epstein, Stein, Weinstein, Weingarten, whatever her Diane, Feinstein, Stein. The characters that were running it were all manipulating Neptune energetics from way out. Because the human current and the human energy goes, it don't stop. It boom, 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 boom. It sends ripples through the cosmos above and below. Above and below. And so what the Giza Plateau and the Queen's Chamber was responsible for was body templates. Now, if you have any energy at the very beginning degrees of Libra, 0 to 5 degrees Libra, you have Alpha Draconic Notice 1. Now, it's not a regular Alpha Draconic energy. It's different. It's ancient. It's a node. It's not that Alpha Draconic energy is bad. All y'all got it. We all have it. This is the part of it that you have to ascend out of, because we had all this crazy DNA in us. So a lot of you have Zeta Reticuli energy in your body. Most of us took on the alpha draconic energy when we came into the simulation before your soul, in your soul contract, in order to connect and clear it and delete it. Same thing with the zeta reticuli energy, FYI. Or because you were attached to the Queen's Chamber, because you were attached to ancient lines, because you're attached to the body temples and the templates that exist in order to print our human body down here, because it's how it works. It's a bunch of projectors lined up on projectors, lined up on projectors, lined up on projectors that are all beaming to one now. Wasn't like that before. There were 5. There were 5 running 3 sets. And then in the very end, the whole point is to get it to 1 set. And that's what my team walked. Now, that energy wasn't active down here in the human body because the energy from the actual star wasn't connected into the human body no more, using a simulation. So my team and what we were doing, and in return, it dictated a lot of moves that the rest of the collective were making, even though you didn't know that that's what we was out there doing, even though I made every attempt to let you know in every way. And all my channels were taken over, and all my domains were taken over, and all my projects were taken over. My company was stolen from me in 2012. Obama stole the templates. I always had the keys. I always had all the keys. You might have too. They knew it. Using a simulation. Now, when that energy, and I'll tell you that and that's what I was in my head, because forgive me with my years, because whenever I go thinking back over the last 4 years and where I was and what we were doing and putting these pieces together, and you probably do this too, we're like, oh my God, wait a minute, was it 2020 or was it 2021? Was it 2018 or was it 2019? The reason that it gets confusing is because what I need everyone to realize, and this is really, really big, and please write it down. Write this down. Since 2017, since we started connecting, and the human seeds down here, in the bubble, in the dome, on the dome, in 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 the dome, like Russian dolls. Your seeds that were in the core basically were able to connect all these pure energy frequencies because we had them in our body. We're pulsing them out. We're sending out the pulse. The higher that our energy frequency goes as a collective, the more pulses that we're sending to that star. And then the star and the constellation is sending the pulse down to us. Problem was, that's where the glass was. That's where this galactic, I call them galaxies. They weren't even galaxies. It wasn't on an X. They had taken the X. It was galaxies. Almost like a whole bunch of hardened cartilage. That had a hole in it. It had a chute to get through it, but it was more like you had to go like this. Ping, 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 to get through it. If you were coming in through a pure source. Well, now what's happened is, but it took 4 years. Of the same thing happening as a result of what happened the year before. So let me back up and say it again. Every year since 2017, on the day or plus or minus a day, And that actually shows you something. Because we were lining up time to where we were all on the same time count. I don't care what time zone you're in. I don't care what part of the planet you're on. It still should be 4 o'clock. I think 4 o'clock everybody should write down. 4 o'clock today or 4 o'clock tomorrow, something. Not Central Standard Time, not Pacific Standard Time, not if you're in Hawaii. No, there's a universal time that matches up with the math, and everything else has been a siphoning freaking mess in a layered chessboard. In order to tune that layer and all of us in it into different time counts. And so when it's done like that, then what happens is, even for an example, is you blow a bomb. Well, what time did the bomb blow here? Well, it blew at 3, but it blew at 5 here, but it blew at 7 here, but it blew at 9 here. And so in a fake simulation using physics, then what that creates is it happening that many times, or even a possible for it happening that many times. Because it's like a section of it is here, and it's laying on a time count. And the way they had it set up, the way that it was set up was all off numerical number patterns. And these numerical number patterns were always based off of the original event. The original event that is being tried to copy. Let me give you an example. Here's another example. And this really blew my mind. Let's say when Hiroshima blew. We always thought, okay, it's already happened. But no. That's not how the cosmos works in a simulation. What happens is that event went off on that day, on that time count, whatever number sequence that was. And when the planets line up again, because that's why they did it. They wouldn't have been able to blow it, number one, for the first time. It had never been done before. If they were making it happen for the very first time, it's way more than getting some explosives. Because anything that's nuclear is attached to the entire human race. And anything that blows that big is attached to the human race in order for it to make it blow. And anything that blows that big is also attached to a cosmic lineup that's the reason it was done that day. Because it wasn't just about blowing the bomb. The intentions were more nefarious than that. We've been lining up. So that bomb going off, the intention to whoever was behind the whole thing was watching the astronomy to see when the planets and the different star systems were coming into alignment, so that we could make the connection that now we've made. But in that time count, some type of cosmic connection was coming in. And so that's what was twined with intention in order to blow the whole thing. Now, when that cosmic lineup happens again, there's potential for it to happen again. Because it's there. It's going to blow. It's the same energy frequency. It lines back up. Or it can be utilized and siphoned to do something else if there isn't anybody else conscious at the top that knows the cosmetology, that's been connected into all of it, that knows what's fixing to happen. Because all it takes at the very top of every single pyramid, I don't care if you're in the room or not. None of us have been in the room when they're doing these planning or spells. But because our energetic was being used in some way to do it, then we get alerted. And we start maneuvering things and setting up things, all of us together, none of us really understanding, even me, even me know. I mean, I'm the one who probably knows the most about this, and I don't even know exactly what's gonna happen next. All I know is that what they intended to hurt the human race with is not gonna happen. It's gonna assist the human race, and the explosion that they're planning on linking in with is gonna explode. You can't stop it. But is that explosion going to happen way out there? Is it going to happen on land? Is it going to fall to land? What is it going to do? But no matter what it's going to do is shift the energetic, the planet, the bubble, whatever, opposite of what they wanted it to do in order to hold control. And what I just said is what we've been dealing with for the past 4 years, to the extent that it's why we all hold our breath. It's why we know good things are coming, but we also know that when you're blowing out of a simulation and you're overwriting black magic intention, that you'll have a bad event that we will consider bad. But it's never as bad as it could have been. And meaning loss of life and this and this and that. It's never as bad as what we know was coming. The problem is most people don't know what was coming, and then they just see the bad event and they think, oh crap, 5 people died. Oh yeah, but it's better than 50 million. Or, this happened, that happened, whatever. Thank y'all for being patient with me. It's very hard to communicate this knowledge. It was December 2020 when we had the first Ophiuchian eclipse. Now, what we know now, and especially why the simulation and how we're more connected than you'd ever realize, is because in 2018 is when we were taken into this new simulation. Now, it was a new simulation because we had already activated in 2017. We had planted a new earth. We waited 9 months for it to grow. We had to birth a new earth. The whole time that we were in this birthing process in 2017, they had beings like me and many of y'all on phone calls with 300, 400,000 Muslims, literally. Doing prayers, doing all this. Now realize, for all of us that were ancient seeds, this would be normal. It would be normal for us to have to connect with the entire world. It's what it's what needed to be done. And so all of us that were involved in these things, 2017, 2018, we thought everything was going off as planned. We didn't realize that you had to do more than resurrect down here. Because, realize the resurrections that went off down here are your most ancient. It was time. It was our last chance. This was the very last chance. We had already ruined 4 chances. This was the last chance in order to get us out. Or everybody was going down for 1,000,000 years in a new planetary system. Now, that means that we all become grub worms and we go inside a planet energetically and we just become energy again for a very long time until the human body is reprinted and remade a simulation to take over the world dominance and take over the human race. Then that means that then we wouldn't become human when it was the entire planetary system was set up for us to print bodies. Weird. Would have been weird to us because it wasn't human. Because it basically then would have become a whole field again. It's like the field is planted. Now everything's got to start growing. Now the reason I even know this, and I'm at 20% here. The reason I even know this is that as part of the ether ancients that got the okay to come back down here in order to do this Hail Mary mission, because this was a Hail Mary mission. It was a Hail Mary mission. It was we got to get inside that bubble really freaking quick. They're not going to open the door. They're not going to let us in. How are we going to get in there with the full completed body codes that were always completed up in the hires? We got to get them inside that bubble and get them into the core, so that when this cosmic lineup happens, no matter how long it's going to take, when this cosmic lineup happens, then we have all the bells and whistles in order to call the planets, in order to line it up so that the planets are helping us pull out of this. Because planets don't show up unless humans lose consciousness. Planets show up when you're falling in a black hole. Planets show up when all your etheric energy power has been taken over and you need Venus to run this one and Saturn to run this part and this part to learn this part and do this part and work together as a sequence on the whole world, the whole universe, because the planets only show up in the freaking Milky Way. The planets show up whenever it's got to wrangle a whole bunch of beings in order to run your bodies and run your codes. And then that's why your ancients, like me, are set up, and we were always planets. Problem was, every religion, most of the religions, were making y'all planets. Especially Jehovah's Witness. Jehovah's Witness number 1 on that list. Jehovah's Witness 100 on that list. Scientology. But I mean, it's every religion. Every religion was basically making you a planet. Well, it's not fun to be a planet. It's really not. Like I'm Venus. And the reason that I'm Venus is because I was down here 72 million years for this. Now I'm older than that. But 72 million years is how long I was in that hole. And down here waiting. Literally. For last days. A lot of us like that. Because we have in our Akashic library every single transit, whether we know it or not, whether we understand it or not, whether we think we do or not. It's in your system in some way or another. And you have been reacting to that system throughout this, which is why you knew something was going on, but you couldn't quite explain what the hell was going on, but you still knew it was going on. Now, this isn't fear-mongering by any means. I'm telling you what the hell. And your government, if they wouldn't have taken over our... Because realize, 1973, we knew that this was going to happen. It was August 1972, because the Ascended Masters started ascending into the simulation. Now realize, our bodies already were here. the energetic in the cosmos had already culminated to the point where that energy was coming and meeting us inside the simulation, and the planet sped up. All the astronomers were screaming because the planet went 1.5 times as fast as it was supposed to. It was like for 3 days, and then it slowed down a little bit, but it was still going too fast. For 30, I think it was 30 days or 33 days exactly. It's been a while since I've looked up this data. And everyone knew that the cosmos was aligning. We were pulling us out of after death. It's what every single, even Hitler, it's what every single manipulation that a human had done, experiments, whatever, had all been working towards getting us and our body to a state that we could breathe outside of a simulation. We could breathe in space. We didn't need as much water. Y'all are drinking way too much water. The human body becomes the spacesuit. It does. It's why they put me in a chamber. It's why they made Comex out of my body. It's why I agreed to do it. My soul agreed to do all of these things because of the master that I was. Here's the problem. Once those gases were made, once all of it was done, they wasn't going to let us out. They weren't going to let us out. They had no intention of letting us out. Now, here's the problem with that. In days, most of your leaders went lights out. It's all been since Nixon. I'll keep screaming it. This was the MJ-12. And if you don't know anything about that, go look it up, because what we were dealing with down here in these elites that took over positions in all of our major organizations over since 2012, our oil companies, our government, our CIA, our FBI, all the police, your city network, all of them. Every single masculine on this planet, to an extent, even the ones that we consider as conscious. There's pieces of this that you could never finish because of the amount of true humans that were men that were taken over and put into positions with certain DNA counts in order to elevate and help and get all the men the information. And those were the first ones that were taken over in order to put you all in a sedation and to disregard and to completely ignore what time it was. And that entity wasn't human. That entity had now I've only got 10% left, and I'm on the phone that I can't charge unless I lay it down on a magnet. So what happened 2 days ago, and it culminated, and it took 4 years to culminate, and I wasn't expecting it, really. You can really think of it like this, in the ethers, because let's just call it the 144,000, the blue avians, the energies and your etheric bodies that are in the cosmos, that have been all connected this whole time, because this is how we got out of all these sacrifices and because we's watching from up there. We're like, yeah, I mean, because everything was out of time. We had gone back into time. We rebirthed our so, and we had stacked up so much time, and if you or anyone in your line was killed ever for being in the right place at the right time to help humans, then when they came for you, you didn't die. Because the death had already been paid for. Then what happens is that you live through the death, but then you step into the shoes to finish the mission of whatever needed to be finished whenever the last one died. And then whenever you got to that mark, there might be another one that happens. There might be another one that happens. For me, there's over 400 of these. But to be fair, 350 just happened in New Orleans in 3 days at the end to blow out the hole. That's how long our ancestors had been getting killed, getting trapped, getting murdered, getting taken out, getting whatever, voodoo dolled, black, switched in jail. Gypsy Rose is the name that I sent the first $10,000 to Hawaii to connect and collect the timelines. I didn't even know that story till a day ago. Had no idea that woman was even in jail. But realized that a lot of us that were in fake families, or we were adopted, or doesn't even matter if you were adopted at this point, because the seeding had been going on for so long, all because they knew how we were connected right now. In 2018, we had connected as we are right now. All of you that are going to be on healing teams, all of you that are going to be in high places, leading in this charge, knowing what we know right now. They knew your name and they knew your set from right now, not from 30,000 years ago. All of the DNA lines, all of the lifetimes of the family lines, and what you were supposed to learn in your family lines as to come up and to evolve was erased. If you were here to help the collective, you got the crap piled on you. In fact, they straight up told me several times, this is your penance for helping the human race. Get used to it. This is your new life. They tell me that. This is how we're so connected in this bubble as this energy comes in, because we're all working together, and then that is what's magnetizing us up in these physics, because this planet we're not where we were supposed to be in space. In fact, the only reason that we're still manifesting the trees, the ocean, the way it was, especially the last 3 years, is because we remember. That's what it is. And we have the earth program in our seed. We've been here. Our bodies print land. Our bodies make land. What happened to my hand last night was not a freaking spider bite. What happened to my hand last night is that the earth is terraforming. The cosmos is terraforming. And whenever that goes off like that and starts burning new lines in my hands, and I'm so glad to see somebody posted about that I'm that others, of course others, but that's what's going on. It's always a tsunami or earthquake, something major, because there's a terraform that's now connected this layer, and it's all coming straight down, and it's terraforming to us. This is why they had to trap us. This is why they needed our bodies. They liked our earth program. Our earth program is going to come with us wherever we are in the cosmos. What you remember whenever you go back to your Lemuria teachings is that this is a wheel. It's always going. It's always turning. It doesn't stop. It's a wheel of time. You have to keep balancing. You have to remember your soul jumped in here because it came into a simulation to get you out. That's what everybody forgot. It's what every single war was fought down here. It's what every single artifact was sold, defaced, energetic. This is how black magic became so powerful, because they had our artifacts. They had our connections. And guess what the base root of every black magic spell was? A tree. A tree of what? Your Puritans, your 200 dead witches, your 200 Puritans. That's Spica. It's in the Bible. It's in the middle of Arcturus, and it's where this last eclipse opened the fuck up. We're in divine timelines right now. There ain't no government. There ain't no police. There ain't nothing down here that's been in charge that actually was helping the people. And that is why us angelics have had to learn and relearn, and us ancients have had to relearn how to mass rule and keep the peace with energetics. Because the human following anybody's normal directions is going to send them straight to hell. Now, what happened was we intercepted. So basically, because everybody down here was set. I mean, it had gotten to where whenever we landed, there was only 0.0248 pure DNA left down here. That's why I activated, because I had all your recessive genes. It's why I look a little weird. It's why my nose isn't quite, you know, if I was perfectly made without recessive gene qualities, I'd have a little Barbie nose. You know, my forehead be a little bit smaller. Because, I mean, it was all made to be that way. Elizabeth Taylor much? But since I hold all your recessive genes, because I was hidden down here so long, I look a little bit different. I look a little bit weird. People are starting to recognize and like it now. But growing up, we didn't. We weren't like that, right? It's like they liked us, they's attracted to us, but it's like, are you pretty? You put me next to a Barbie doll, probably perfect nose, perfect this. In the old energy, now you're looking for the recessive gene codes because you're going, wait, that's too perfect. But it flipped, did it not? That bubble that's coming down with all of our bodies in it that are connecting into was intercepted. We intercepted it. Y'all's all tied down. Most of you and the healings that need to be done down here for people that are sick aren't what you think. Your etheric body is tied up. It's why this isn't firing to this. It's why this isn't firing to this. Now, what we did is untie all of that for all the Michelles and the Michaels, which is a big deal. Michelles, Michaels, and Shelleys. Now, if you have this name, if you have a Michelle name, if you've got a Michael name, if you've got a Shelley name, then first of all, I'm talking about Shelley, Russian pig protocol, mind control, femme fatale programs for hybridized seeds. That's a mouthful. If we're talking about Michelle, we're also now having to deal with Michelle Obama, Michael Obama, same freaking thing. All, see what I'm saying? There's the natural form, and then there was the parallel form, and then there was the taking over of that program in order to lead astray. In this timeline, it wasn't just normal ancient activation. Once you had a normal ancient activation, then you were dealing with a parallel of it in a dark force form. No matter. Not to mention it's the shell. Not to mention it's dealing with the ocean. Not to mention that Michael was Aldebaran, your archangel. Now, the problem was this whole realm had been being operated from a three-legged dog for so long because Moses will flood the ark to your nose and your neck. Moses floods the ark to your nose and your neck. Phonetic Babylonian crap. Just saying it messes up your body in a simulation. Michael connects with Uriel, and he sits on top of the mountain, and he waits. Well, that's a problem. Michael's got to realize you can move the mountain, but you can't do that whenever you've been beaten. Now, Michael took the brunt for a lot of us for a long time. Don't call Michael for protection right now. If you're in the Matrix and you're in jail, call Michael. If you're out of the matrix, call Gabriel. Don't call Michael right now. Michael, Marduk, the M's, the ba. Now, realize we don't blame this energy because we know what's happening. But all your Marduk, all your Dragon Order, all this bullshit that they're setting up for New Year's, which is still playing out, by the way, because you can't stop it. Even whenever they realized, oh, shit, we just sacrificed the cosmos. I mean, I had 5 entertainers sacrifice me. 5 of them. And do you know that not even one of them knew that each one of them was sacrificing me, which was all of y'all in some way, back to the sea? They didn't even realize that it's all the same person. Not to mention, they ended up sacrificing the planet and the entire cosmos and the entire star systems. So, yeah, there's a little trouble to be played here. It's all still going down. You can't do 200 years of black magic and then go, oops, we made a mistake. Can it stop now? It's got to play out. That's the reason I was woken up, is the reason I was here. Because I had to remember and be able to connect with all of y'all, having all the keys and relearn how to write matrix codes, how to write Toltec codes, and be proven that I wasn't going to use it just to make myself rich, which is what they all did. Which is why they don't have the power. So what happened the other night, 2 nights ago, was that all of y'all got stood up. All the ropes came off your neck. You came out of a guillotine. Your body codes and your X codes that run throughout your chakras are back together again appropriately. And you're standing up in the cosmos. It's really hitting most of y'all today. So if you've had extra ascension symptoms, or if you've been extra headachy or whatever, or if you get it in the next 3 days, because remember, there is no time, and it just depends on where that hits. And what we did 2 nights ago is going to culminate tomorrow, which is why I'm on here telling you today. So your etheric bodies were untied. A lot of you, and a lot of us, our hair was pulled backwards and wrapped around our ankles. Wasn't human what was doing this to us. To the extent that over time, all your abdomen became dead. So literally, your hair, which is which is hardened, which is these insectoid energies that were down here, were made by it, were attached to your sole of your feet, and you weren't getting a chakra, and then boom, because you're laying down. That was fixed in all of you. We had already done it in 2022 in order to get the skeleton keys. I need everyone to understand the skeleton keys went into the human template. You were activating all of your DNA. You were activating all your connections to the cosmos. It only has to be done and completed by those of us who have your ancient connections, which is why they had us down there hidden as your gases to begin with. So if you're feeling extra, that's what it is. We're all in it together. You're also in new levels. The energy is the pure new physics. You're no longer laying down in a simulation. Now you're active in it, which means you might feel some firing in your fingertips. You might have some burning in your veins, maybe even in your arms. You will feel it in your body because for the first time, your body is standing up and it's integrating with the planetary cycle. You're not laying down and dreaming about it and having to project into a mind projection or someone else's mind projection. This is where your power is. It comes through your body, not just your mind. That's the problem. Stop thinking about it so much. Stop trying to figure it all out. What you need to know is, especially if you're on this live right now, look at my eyes right now. Talking about this. You see how they changed? I mean, it happened 2 days ago in our world in the etheric. So honestly, I just stood up and grabbed this magnet. I could be just now standing us up. And I went back in and came up to pull y'all up to do this. So realize it's happening to me at the same time. We're doing this together. But your mind projections, if they overpower your body projections, then you have to fucking figure it all out before you get it. Stop. And realize that they're so stupid. They only have what they made off the old program. So literally, if you get into fear, and you're sitting in your house, you being the human, and you're like, oh my gosh, they can get in the back door. Oh my gosh, they can get into the gate. Oh shit, I need to go. Da, 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 da. You just told them how to get in. If you wouldn't have thought of it, they wouldn't have even known where you were. I must say it again. Stop letting your mind run even about how to protect yourself, because whenever you figure it out, that goes into the story. Now it might have to be done. Number one. Number two, realize that our cosmic etheric bodies are already up there working together. You're getting right here on this live, on this frequency, all the data update you need. We could talk about sand. We could talk about anything. We could just sit here. You're getting all the data. You're getting your missing data. You're getting your missing keys by the connection, by the channel. It's why we had to take over TikTok. It's why TikTok is cleaned up the way it is. It's why I have to threaten TikTok, because I know how TikTok works with the human body and the human form. Do you know this app ain't even supposed to be used to anybody who's not a master? Realize they stole our tech. 2013 to do this. It's always in the codes. You're getting the codes with the connections that you have, and even on here. So what you want to do is freaking relax. Be a goddess. Be a feminine. It's what the world forgot. It's what we forgot. We forgot about the pieces of our cosmos having, and the pieces of our body that are connected into the cosmos. We forgot that we project our reality. Not out of your mind. Your body does. Our bodies project the land. Our bodies project the people around us. Our bodies project our story. So what you do is you integrate in your house, in your seclusion, with the people that are around you, in your group, if you're in a group. If you've done this in a group, you're used to doing it in a group. So you're in a group. If you're alone, you've been alone. There's a reason. You let the energies culminate right now, because they're going up and down, up and down. It's a slingshot out there. Follow your guidance on when to leave the house. And don't leave it up to chance. You're leaving the house, you're going to the bank. Okay, so I'm going to go to the bank. I'm going to get a great parking space. I'm going to walk in. They're going to reboot my data in the computers are going to reboot as soon as I walk in there, if there's something going on with the banking that's going to set me up. I'm going to walk in. We don't abuse it. I'm going to go into AT&T. I've got to get the phone. They're going to have the phone that I need. They're going to give it to me at the discount price. It has to be fair. Don't abuse it. Don't say bad things are going to happen. Don't say, oh,